Imagine that you work in a residential aged care home. You're one of 3 staff members on shift, caring for 40 residents. You and a colleague are helping a resident who requires 2 staff members to lift her into the shower, when you hear another resident's call alarm ring. A few seconds later, the 3rd staff member, a nurse, asks for urgent help with a resident who has fallen. Now, it's not safe for you or your colleague to leave the resident you're with, but you still need to check on the resident who rang their alarm, as it could be an emergency. And you know that the nurse desperately needs help. So what do? Care staff are faced with dilemmas like this on a regular basis, when there are insufficient resources in terms of time, clinical training, and staffing levels. Staff must prioritise care based on level of importance or urgency. To prevent low priority care from becoming missed or neglected, it's important to understand how care is prioritised and what influences prioritisation decisions. However, staff members are only one piece of the puzzle. Now imagine that your mum was the resident being helped into the shower. What would you want for her care? What about if you were the resident who rang their alarm? How would you feel if your call went unanswered? In order to meet the needs of residents and family, we must also understand how they prioritise care. What is most important to them? My research explored the priorities of 32 staff members, 38 residents, and 27 family using a method called Q methodology, where participants were given a set of cards each representing an aspect of care. They were asked to rank the cards from most to least important and were interviewed about their decision making. Data were then analysed using established factor analysis techniques and thematic analysis. While I'm still interpreting the findings from family and residents, I have identified 7 key themes influencing staff members' prioritisation, 2 of which I'm going to touch on today. The first was that prioritisation was influenced by perceived role responsibilities. Staff members demonstrated what is known as "it's not my job" syndrome, where care tasks outside the scope of assigned duties were often considered as a lower priority. Second was peer support, whether tasks could be delegated from one staff member to another or delayed until the next shift. However, staff members consistently said that there were not enough available staff members, and despite the importance of a formal handover between shifts, in some facilities, face-to-face handovers have been cut short or removed altogether. My research demonstrates how some aspects of care can become a lower priority and are therefore susceptible to being neglected. They also highlight a mismatch between how staff deliver care and resource availability. These insights can help aged care providers to identify ways in which to better support staff and ultimately prevent the needs of one of our most vulnerable populations from falling through the cracks of a complex and under-resourced system.